Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Former Oxford School Board members coming forward to say the district ignored key training and protocols ahead of the deadly shooting spree, which killed 4 students.
Tonight, we're getting reaction from the families impacted most by the tragedy that unfolded now nearly exactly a year ago. Glad you're with us for Local 4 News at 6. Tom Donnelly and Corey Bailey say a policy for dealing with potential threats was adopted, but then forgotten for years.
They believe if the policy had been known and enforced, Ethan Crumbley would have been sent home instead of back to class. Paula Tutman will have a closer look at the specific claims and a new statement from the school board, but we are going to begin tonight with the first wave of reactions from the Oxford community. Sean Lay is live right now with that part of the story. Sean?
Karen, those reactions extremely emotional tonight, and here's why. Some reactions coming from the parents, the mom and dad of Tate Myre, who was shot and killed in this shooting, and the mother of Justin Schilling, another victim taken from her that day.
There was a playbook that should have been followed, and it wasn't followed.
Buck Myre, the father of Oxford High School shooting victim Tate Myre, met with the whistleblowing former board members in an emotional meeting over the weekend. The former board members now coming forward saying the district's own playbook to stop a shooting was not followed.
They're not really worried about the families that lost a loved one and worried about the kids that were injured physically and mentally. It's just a full-on cover-up.
Jill Suave is the mother of shooting victim Justin Schilling.
Without full transparency, how can we prevent anything? It's beyond agonizing for us to have to wait a full year to have the details of what led up to this, what happened to our children.
It's absolutely disgusting and offensive.
Attorney Ben Johnson represents the Myre and Schilling families in a lawsuit against the Oxford School District, saying the suit is meant to hold school officials accountable.
Where were they back then? Thank you for coming forward now. Where were you right after these events for these folks and their families and their other children and everybody in Oxford Community Schools?
I think this is hopefully going to kind of break the dam down a little bit and get some water flowing, because nothing's really been flowing.
By flowing, he means information and transparency. That's Buck Myre, the father of Tate Myre. He also tells me he was at that meeting yesterday, Devin and Karen, with the whistleblowers. Very tough to hear this information, but he says this is just the start of the information. He believes much more to come. Back to you.
It's been so much time has passed and we still don't know everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
So we just heard Buck Myre say they had a playbook that wasn't followed. Well, one of the big questions is how many people had actually seen that playbook?
Paula Tutman is live with more on what the whistleblowers are saying about that and why their claims are so relevant to the quest these families are on to get answers. Paula?
Hi, but I first want to address what was said in Sean's package, where the question was asked, where were these 2 board members? Because it's 2 days from the first anniversary, and we asked that question. They said they were afraid to come forward. They were told not to come forward, but they wouldn't say by whom. Okay, so what's worse, the fact that there was a playbook and it wasn't used, or the fact that there was a playbook and it wasn't used, but the school board ostensibly is presenting to the public that they had everything under control, they did everything they could, and the shooting happened anyway. I asked the 2 former school board members those questions, and they said it's both and more. What makes these 2 former Oxford School Board members potential flamethrowers aiming into an already burning hot pit is their claim that the Oxford School District had an approved playbook that, had it been followed, perhaps the actions of confessed killer Ethan Crumbley would have been seen, stopped, and therefore his shooting and killing of 4 students and injuring of 6 others might have been prevented.
Other markers, violent writings, drawings.
There is an actual playbook that the district adopted in 2004 called the Enhancing School Safety Using a Threat Assessment Model. It was issued by the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Secret Service. Now, according to Donnelly and Bailey, their attorney also says that the principal got external training on that playbook, but never passed that training along to others. They didn't even realize that playbook existed until February, 3 months after the shooting at Oxford High School.
I truly believe that if Oxford Community Schools had been prepared
with Policy 8400 these past few years and had actually trained on threat assessment, the situation would have ended November 29th, and the 30th would have just been another day in Oxford.
That takes us to those disturbing drawings by Ethan Crumbley the day of the shooting, found by a teacher who reported them, that seemed to go ignored when it came to the very important piece of getting him and his backpack and that gun out of the school that morning had proper procedures been followed. The attorney also says that teachers throughout the years have mentioned students with these behavioral markers and sounded alarms to no avail. And then there's the question of an independent third-party investigation that never happened because the district declined.
A bigger question might be, why is this even an option? Like Tom said, if a plane was to go down, Boeing doesn't come in and say, let's do this. The government comes in and says, we're going to do an investigation, tell you what went wrong. Why is it even an option for the school board? That should be mandatory. It should not even be an option.
Okay, so the new school board president, Dan DeLisandro, released a written statement in part, and we'll put all of it on clickondetroit.com, but here's the part that we pulled out. He says, at Oxford Community Schools, the safety of our students and staff has remained our #1 priority. The third-party review of the events leading up to, during, and following November 30th, 2021, as reported at our last board meeting, has since seen increased participation of key stakeholders. The review will help us all understand the facts and have the transparency and accountability we all deserve. He never ever mentioned these two former board members holding a news conference. And I do want to point out, incidentally, that a review is not the same as a third-party independent investigation by the Attorney General's office. Guys, back to you.
Very good distinction to make, Paula. Transparency and accountability, that is what really everyone in that community wants. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Now to big questions tonight surrounding the police chase turned officer-involved shooting in Dearborn yesterday, including how it could be connected to a missing persons case out of Tennessee. The car crashed into a home near the Dearborn-Detroit border. Gunfire was exchanged. The woman in the driver's seat was found shot to death, either by police or perhaps by herself. But another woman in the passenger seat was taken into custody. And in the trunk, police found the body of a third woman. Those remains may be linked to a missing persons case out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Megan Woods following this developing story. So much here to unravel. Megan.
That's right, Devin. Right now, the biggest pieces of this puzzle are autopsy results. Everyone is waiting on the edge of their seat to find out what the medical examiner office is going to see here, who this driver is, if that woman inside the trunk is 31-year-old Alani Casa from Tennessee.
To be the car that was wanted and have nobody in it that's actually affiliated with that case.
Michigan State Police are investigating what led to this bizarre crime scene in Dearborn Sunday. And if the woman in the trunk is 31-year-old Alani Casa from Tennessee. She went missing November 17th after her family says she never picked up her daughter from school, which was nothing like her. Casa left her cell phone and car at her apartment. Family told Murfreesboro police from the start they believe she was forced to leave by a friend.
This is a nightmare that we don't seem to wake up from.
Police thought she might be in a black Dodge Charger that was last spotted in Ohio until yesterday. Dearborn police got an alert from Flock license reader that it was in the area and pulled over the driver.
The driver pulled away. As they pulled away, Dearborn started to pursue them, lost sight of them, terminated their pursuit.
MSP says shortly after, officers found that same car up against this house.
As the car was crashed up against the house, there was a shot fired towards what the police thought was towards them. They returned fire.
That driver died from a gunshot wound, and investigators are tracking down where it came from and more.
Detectives are currently serving search warrants throughout that area. They're doing some evidence processing, things like that.
MSP says they also recovered a 9mm pistol from that black Charger. They're again waiting for these autopsies. They were scheduled today, and so we could have those results as soon as later tonight, but we just have to wait. And MSP is also talking to that third woman who was a passenger, hoping that they could give more information about, what happened here and if they're even involved. Back to you.
Megan, the threads here just run all over the place. So what are investigators in Tennessee saying about what happened in Dearborn and this possible connection?
So they did release a statement earlier today. We'll have that on clickondetroit.com. But what they're saying is they are monitoring the situation that's happening here. MSP also saying that they're talking to police in Tennessee. They're talking to Eleni's family to make sure everybody is up to speed on the possibilities here.
Just possibilities, though. Nothing definitive at this point. All right, Megan.
Well, police of Madison Heights are asking for your help to solve a deadly assault. They say a 50-year-old man was run over and killed in the parking lot of the T-Mobile near 14 Mile and I-75 Friday night. They believe the victim and the driver got into some sort of fight before it happened. The suspect took off. They think they were driving a black Jeep Gladiator, like the one you see there. If you have any information, call police.
Family of Paul Whelan says they are getting increasingly concerned about his safety. That is saying something because that has been the worry now for years. Whelan is the Novi man locked up in Russia over spying accusations. His brother David says he failed to make a scheduled call last week, and staff with the U.S. Embassy has not heard from him. U.S. Embassy officials say the U.S. continues to work to try to get Whelan, along with WNBA star Brittany Griner, out of prison in Russia. But they say Russia has not given a serious response thus far to any of their proposals. Got out of the rain from yesterday. Things have improved. It was kind of gloomy.
Yes, it was. Gloomy, but a nice Monday to start our week, right, Kim?
A nice Monday for cyber shopping online if you didn't go outside. We have cloudy skies right now. It's a little cool out there with temps in the 30s, 42 at Metro Airport, but pretty much in the upper 30s everywhere else you go. We don't really have to worry too much about the wind chill now because the winds are rather light. So wind chills and temperatures are very close together in the upper 30s. There's some warmth down to our southwest that is going to be moving in our direction. It's 48 in St. Louis, 51 in Kansas City, and we'll get in on that warm weather here for the day tomorrow. Lots of clouds around, but we do make it up to a high of 50 degrees. But then tomorrow evening and into Wednesday, we expect wind gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour. So I'm going to talk more about that coming up in the forecast. Best way to keep up to date on all the weather is to download our free Forewarn weather app. Just go to your favorite app store, type in WDIV. It is free.
All right, thank you, Kim. Changes coming to one of Detroit's iconic downtown hotels. We're going to take a close look at that coming up.
Also, we know certain foods are brain boosters. Well, now there's new research on which ones are brain savers, helping us keep our minds sharp as we age. We'll have that next.